XenoNews Weekly News for the week of January 25th to January 31st. In this series, I will be recapping all of the major news stories from this week relating to mainly Xenoblade, but also the Xeno series in general, though I'm also 2 days late on this, so oops. Well, 3 days late, hopefully, if I upload it by tomorrow. As I said earlier, this episode is mainly going to be all about major news in the past one-ish year, and I won't be covering everything, so I won't be like Xenoblade Chronicles announced, released in Japan, announced for Europe, Project Rainfall starts, etc. Since then, this video would be about 2 hours. Let's start out with Xenoblade Chronicles X. In Japan, a website and Twitter for the game have opened. The website covers mainly characters and music, but I want to focus on the Twitter. Major news coming out of the X Twitter, which is at Xenoblade JP by the way, includes the team of designers, which includes the scriptwriter Yuichiro Takada, who worked on the Xenoblade Chronicles as well, Hiroyuki Sawano, who did work on Attack on Titan, is in charge of sound, and Kunihiko Tanaka is in charge of character design. Another big news story that came out of the Twitter was the dolls in the game are about 5 times bigger than Cross, and that the world to the doll is about as big as the world of Xenoblade Chronicles. If Cross is the same size as Shulk, then the world of X is about 5 times larger than Xenoblade Chronicles, which is amazing. As well, the game is supposed to be almost completely take up the Wii U system memory, which, not count DOS, is about 25 gigabytes. At one point in time, due to the fact that the game needs to load massive worlds quickly, the developers at one point considered putting the game on 2 discs, but with help from Nintendo's internal team, managed to fit on one, which is about 25 gigabytes. Okay. About the story, they tweeted out that X's plot would progress in various directions as you finish quests which you get from different places. As well, they also said, moving on the field is completely seamless. However, loading occurs in cases like event scenarios. I recommend playing the downloadable version so you don't have to worry about loading from the disc. Of course, the disc version is also tuned as much as possible to reduce the loading time. We are consulting Nintendo as to whether or not the main data can be read from the console. It kind of scared me, as I wanted to pick up the game retail if there's a special edition. They also pointed out that there are 4 party members in the game instead of 3 at the same time. I'm guessing there's going to be like more party members you can choose from, which is interesting, but I won't really talk about it until I know what difference it makes. The game is not fully online, but it is a more loosely online RPG, as they said. After all, the game brings out collectively without players noticing other people, so the playstyle of an online RPG wasn't used as a base. Moving on, in September of last year, the new Nintendo 3DS was announced for Japan. There are 2 models, the new Nintendo 3DS, which is smaller and has changeable faceplates, and the new Nintendo 3DS XL, which is larger and has a larger battery life. I myself own a Japanese new Nintendo 3DS, along with my American launch date 3DS. The big difference of the new Nintendo 3DS are a new C-stick which works as a second analog stick, 2 new trigger buttons, colored ABXY buttons, an NFC touchscreen that can read Amiibo, better outside cameras, a second internal camera that allows the system to track your eyes and adjust the 3D screen to where you're facing it from, the ability to change the screen's brightness based off of the brightness of your current environment, a better internet browser that can watch videos, the ability to share images and music to and from your 3DS and PC, and a faster processor that speeds up loading and OS times. And, most importantly, allows for better and larger, and I mean the cartridge size is actually 6 to 8 gigabytes instead of 1 to 2 gigabytes games. In the January 2015 Nintendo Direct, the new Nintendo 3DS was announced for Europe, and the XL was announced for both Europe and North America, with North America getting a red one instead of blue one, which actually looks cool. I'm interested, but I'm not going to get it. Speaking of the new Nintendo 3DS, a port of Xenoblade Chronicles was announced for the system in September. So far from what people have played at the events, the port is basically the same as the Wii version, only with the GUI on the bottom screen. I hope that they add Amiibo support, and if so, it's totally grind time, but that seems unlikely. And while we were talking about Amiibo, last December, Shulk was announced to be part of the Wave 3 Smash Amiibo. He's exclusive to GameStop in the US, just like Xenoblade Chronicles, and is estimated to ship on February 13th. though may come a few days sooner or later. Shulk looks like he's going to be one of the rarer Wave 3 amiibo, so if you did not pre-order, good luck finding one. As well, if you live in the New York City area, on the day I'm writing this, which is January 27, 2015, Nintendo World is currently stocked with the retailer exclusive amiibo, including Shulk. Though looking at the images that I've been seeing, I doubt they are still in stock, but if they are, you can pick Shulk up there. In Japan, if you pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 3D around launch, you will get a free soundtrack with it. I think this also happens with pre-orders, I don't know. If I can somehow manage to find a way to order off Amazon JP, then I will get this game with the soundtrack, but I don't know. Even still, very cool. On the 28th, Famitsu had a huge article on Xenoblade X. A lot of news came out, including that New LA has 4 main areas, which are the Blade District, Industrial District, Commercial District, and Residential District. That the game's information system will be called the Frontier Network and must be expanded to find pods or survivors in them, and the Frontier Network will be used on the gamepad. There will be a quick travel information about quests on the map, similar to Xenoblade Chronicles. There will be off-TV play, and that Blade will be split into 8 units, in which the player can choose which to join. Each union will have different quests, and the player can change which union they are in at any time. The unions include Pathfinder, Union for Pioneers, responsible for establishing data probes, expands the Frontier Network, Inceptor, responsible for suppressing native life forms, guards research teams and rescue citizens, Avalanche, Inceptor protects while Avalanche attacks, suppresses dangerous creatures. Testament, searches and collects the wreckage of the White Whale, also looks for things left behind in battlefields. Coolopedian goes to search various places of Mira to do research and collect materials. Landbank searches Mira for stocking up resources in order to maintain daily life. An important task is to gather minerals. Arms helps the Arms Company to develop weapons like dolls. Companion helps the civilians of New Los Angeles. Does almost any task, varying from arbitrating pearls to finding lost cats. As well, the game has been confirmed to be 300 hours long, which is insane. I thought Xenoblade Chronicles was just long enough to be 24 hours, though that was the perfect time for the game, but this game is going to be 3 times as long. Wow. Moving on to the last and most important subject, release dates in drumroll, please. Xenoblade Chronicles X will launch in Japan on April 29th. So far, all we know for Western release dates is the second half of this year. If I had to guess, I would say September, since that's when Nintendo likes to launch their very Japanese games, though take that with a grain of salt. For Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, it will launch in April this year, which is very fitting, considering that is when the original game launched in North America. For average price online, you can get a used copy for about $50 to $80. For new copies, the average price looks online to be $90 to $150. Anyways, that's it for the first episode of XenoNews. I would love feedback, so leave it in the comment section. I forgot to put that down there. I have not done anything like this on my main channel, so I don't know. I might be doing something wrong. I might just supposed to be talking like this the whole time. I don't know. I don't do this. Anyway, see you next week. Hopefully I'll actually do it on time next week.